I've written a lot over the years of my love of The Game and The Mine, two cooperative designs that consist solely of numbered cards that you're putting in order. Not much to these games. The rules effectively disappear, which is a good thing in my eyes because then you can focus on the people that you're playing with rather than trying to remember exactly what's legal. You pay a lot more attention to the people at the table and enjoy that shared experience with them. And in 2025, French publisher Libellud is introducing another cooperative game in which you are ordering numbered cards. That is Take Time, a game by Alexis Piovesan and Julien Protier. It's for 2 to 4 players. And as you can see on the front of the box, you have clocks. And you are effectively making a clock with your fellow players, trying to make sure you do it in the right way. We start with a clock face that is divided into 6 segments, and we're going to take turns playing numbered cards face down in those segments, and after all the cards have been played, we reveal them, and the sum in each segment cannot decrease as we go around the clock. You can have the same sum, you will probably increase, but you can't go down. We have a deck of 24 cards, 12 night cards and 12 day, both numbered 1 to 12. So we are reproducing the clock in the deck of cards. And we're going to play a pretend 3-player game. You leave out the reminder for 3 players. That shows that we can actually turn 3 cards face up during this game. Each player decides when they want to turn a card face up. When they want to play a card face up. You can't turn up a card that's previously played. You get a hand of 4 cards in a 3-player game. And you see the back, so you know what people have. You don't know the numbers, but you know the distribution of day and night. And before you pick up the cards, you can talk about how you want to play this level. So this symbol right here shows a single day card, so exactly 1 day card can be played in this segment. This segment shows 3 cards. You can play any 3 day or night. Aside from that, each segment needs to have at least 1 card, and the sums cannot decrease. So clearly, player 1 or 2 here if you have it. Play high numbers here. 12, 11, 10 even. Okay. So we're going to look at our cards, and we can talk about that, and then after looking, we decide who's going to go first. So you look at your cards, and you said, maybe not me. I look at mine. I say, I'll go first. Okay. I drop 1 immediately. So you don't know what this is, but you assume it's pretty low. There's a lot of white cards around here. Maybe you just decide, I'm going to play as well. And I could play either 4, but if I play this one, it's indicating, well, it's a little bit more, moving up. Okay. This player, I'm going to use the face-up cards for them. They say, I'm going to play here. Oh, good choice, Eric. Randomly playing that there. I drop a card as well. You look at what you have. You know what you played here. You don't know what's here, but maybe you're just like, I'm going to play this. I'm just going to assume I can jump up. And this player is going to play here. Turn face up. All right, that would have been better here, but so be it. I drop a card. 3 white cards already here. So probably going to guess what that is. It's probably at least 30. We don't know for sure, but okay. You're like, I'll play here. This player is going to play here. That's a 9, so 20. And I look at what I have here. Maybe go here and go here. This is going to be a real mystery here. Let's see if this has worked or not. You then reveal the sums. 2, 4, 7, 14. And here we have 20. 29. That worked out with those being pretty low. And here, 33. All right, so we did it. Playing one hand almost completely at random with little information from turning it face up, I did it. First level is pretty hard to fail. Right? All the sums do not decrease. We completed all the restrictions. We're good. We did it. If we had failed, then you shuffle up the cards, deal new hands, and you put out a token that shows you get to turn one more card face up. And you have 3 of those, so if you fail repeatedly, you could end up having half the cards that you play in a 3-player game face up. In a 4-player game, you'd have 7 cards. 2-player, 5 cards. But we don't need that on the first level. Now after this, you're going to go to the envelope that this level came in and pull out a new level. Now each envelope comes with a rule sheet that shows how to understand all of the symbols on it. So if you don't want to see any more levels in envelope 1, you can jump to this time. I'm just going to show these, and then I'm going to talk generally and not show any other restrictions. But if you want to see more, you reach in the envelope and level 2. We have restrictions where you must have a sum in this segment of 8 to 12, inclusive. And there must be 3 cards played here, which is trickier than having 3 cards being forced to play here, because you just drop 10s, 11s, 12s, you're all set. Here, you're more in the middle area of the clock. So you have to manage that a little bit more, and maybe that's where you start revealing cards so that you can give information to others and let them know where they might have to play as a result of what you are doing. You can look at, you can deal out the cards, and you can just say like, well, if someone's got a 10, they should volunteer to be first and drop a 10 there. And if no one volunteers, well, then okay, then someone with a 9 or 11. And you can put a single card there, and you know what to play around in the future. If you put a 7 here, you know that's good. And you assume if someone rushes to play 1 card, boom, probably a 7, maybe a 6. Okay, but it gives us some idea of where to play next. The speed with which someone plays and where they decide to play is going to give you information. So first player, boom. Second player, here. Okay, these 2 are all set. We know this is at most 12. This can be 12 as well. Where do we go from here? You start having face-up cards to get over tricky spots, because maybe your hand is entirely high numbers. Maybe it's entirely low. It's a mix. You don't know what you're going to get at any time and what other people have as well. But level 3, put this out. This segment now has to have a sum of 20 to 30. You can't just plop all the high cards in here. You got a ceiling and a floor that you have to work with. So something else to discuss with players. How are we going to play this? More importantly, the first card played has to be here, second card here. You can add more cards to those segments, but first, second, and then after that, you're free to play where you wish. So more complications, trying to determine what's a good number to play first. Right? You can max out at 30 here. So this is roughly halfway around. Maybe you just drop a 12. Then you got to still make sure you get up to high enough here. You decide how you want to do that, whether you want to reveal it or not. But if you discuss beforehand, you can do that. You can't give information like, if I put it this way, then it's definitely a 12. Right? You can't do stuff like that. But you can discuss what you like to do. Okay. And level 4, the final level in envelope 1, has a different background. And that is to emphasize that you've been playing with training wheels for the first 3 levels. This little lemniscate here shows that the sums, at least in these 2, can be whatever you want in the highest segment. And here, it's at most 30. But from level 4 on, no segment can have a sum higher than 24. So that's another consideration to keep in mind when you're deciding what to play face up. You can say, we're just going to play 2 cards here. You got 11 or 12, drop it here. If you don't have 11, you go around the table once and no one has played here. Okay, well now maybe we're going to be able to play 3 cards here and still be at most 24. So you go around and then someone's like, okay, I'm going to reveal this card. And that gives us some idea of where we're at. Okay. This level has to have exactly 1 day and 1 night card in this segment, and this segment in particular has to be the closest to the number 6. It's got a 6 inside a target. So you cannot have a situation where the sum here is 4 and the sum here is 6, because this segment has the sum closest to 6. You could do this, 6 and 6, that's fine, but this has to be closest. So it gives you another condition that you have not encountered before, something else to think about, and now the floor for this segment is 6. So if you get lots of low numbers, you can't just drop a 1 in here and be done. You're going to have to add those numbers to other segments. And probably not there, because that's only 2 cards. Okay, that's the end of envelope 1. The game has multiple envelopes, each with 4 levels inside. Right, level 2, envelope 2, envelope 3, and so on. I've only played up through envelope 3. I have no idea what's in these envelopes. I don't care to peek. I would only want to discover by playing. You keep going, envelope 10. Envelope 11 has nothing inside. This is the sleeve of regrets. If you have a level that you just can't beat and you just want to move on and try something else, you can put it in the sleeve of regrets. And you'll get to it later because it's envelope number 11. By the time you get through all these, surely you'll know how to do that one, right? That's the thinking anyway. And then you have a final envelope 12 that is titled Rebirth in the rules. And don't look at that until you've completed everything else. Have not done that yet, of course, because I haven't done any of this. But you got 40 levels of play to work with at that point. All right. One last thing. Let me jump back to level 1 and talk about the 2-player game. So in a 4-player game, you each get 3 cards, so you have 12 cards again. In a 2-player game, you're each going to get 6 cards because you are playing 12 cards total, no matter the player count. However, you are going to get a hand of 4 cards and then a separate hand of 2 cards. And you're going to decide what to do. You can talk about plans for how you're going to do each level. You each then pick up your 4-card hands. You decide who's going to go first. You each play 2 cards, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then you pick up the remaining 2 cards. So things are a little trickier in a 2-player game. You think you'd have more control because there's fewer players, and so you are playing half the cards. You get lots of information of what is where, but this is a great idea to restrict the information coming into the game, to force you to do things before you know the full scope of what you have on hand to play. And that really changes how you approach these levels. Here, you need to play 1 day card. I look at my hand, I'm like, oh, I pass. You can go first. And you look at your hand, you're like, I don't want to go first. So neither of us have low cards. So maybe I start here instead. And then you play something, and then I pick this up. You are picking up 2 night cards. I am picking up a day card. And I'm like, well, I'm going to play this day card here. And maybe you knew it was the day card that I had in my hand to begin with. So you know it's not great. But you can say we've got 6, 7 day cards. So maybe at worst this is a 5. And you play on from there. So the information comes in bits and pieces. And it's super satisfying to play that way, because you have to change how you're doing everything, especially when you get to the 3rd level, which I'm not going to reveal for the people who jumped ahead, but you have certain restrictions that now matter very much. There's an overview of Take Time, which I have played 27 times over 3 sessions on a review copy from Libelud. And as you might guess from that play count, I greatly enjoy this game. It is very much the cooperative style of game that I enjoy, with the rules being very minimal and with everyone contributing to your success or failure. It's not one person who will just blow the game completely. It's all of you together that are responsible for making things happen and conveying information to others in different ways based on where you play, how you play, what you actually reveal. There's all little bits and pieces that come through as you're trying to talk to your fellow players through that card play. And as you can see from level 1, you've got certain restrictions on what you can play where. And as you go through the envelopes and the 4 levels inside each envelope, you're going to get different types of restrictions. And you can probably imagine what's possible because you have a deck of 24 cards and 6 segments. What are you going to do with that? There's going to be restrictions on what you can play where, what the sums can be, where you can play when, all sorts of stuff, right? That's all sorts of different things that are going to happen. I've only played through envelope 3. I've started with 3 different groups starting from the beginning, and I've enjoyed it each time, which is maybe weird because that first level is so simple. It's almost impossible to fail, but I love playing with people and introducing the game to them and seeing it click for them. They're facing the cards and they're not sure how it's going to work, and then there you go. It works just fine, and everyone's like, oh, this is fantastic. It's very similar to the mind in that regard, and then you just have this feeling of kind of pulling a trick on each other. That all works. It's like a good prank because everyone has come out happy, right? Ideally. Doesn't always happen, but ideally that's the way it works. And then you move on to something else. And Take Time is very much a potato chip style game where you finish one and you're like, oh, let's just start another one. It's only going to take a minute. You pull out the new level, see what the rules are, shuffle the cards, you go. Or if you fail a level, shuffle the cards, go. So you just play, and you keep going through different levels, and it's fantastic just to see the difference. You're trying to imagine what's going to come next, and it's been a surprise so far, just from what I have seen. I'll mention, this is not a secret yet, but there is a clock hand that is separate. When you punch out everything else, you have this. So clearly, you're going to do something with this clock hand at some point. What might that be? You get to imagine it right now. So all sorts of restrictions as you're playing through, and I don't know if I'll ever even get through all 40 levels because you got to keep playing with the same people over and over again. I mean, you don't have to, but you probably want to. But that's not my concern, is getting through all 40 levels. I'm curious to explore and see what they do, but more than that, I want to introduce this game to other people and have them have that moment of discovery and just see this thing that they have probably never seen before. Right? This game works with casual game players. I played it with some who don't play that many designs, but it's very straightforward. Put down a card, reveal a card if you think it's not clear what you've played. That's it. So it works with a very casual audience, and then you can just keep going. I love introducing games to people that way, just to get them to try something where often people have a very set idea of what games are because they played Risk and Monopoly and Scrabble, and maybe that's it. Maybe Catan as well at this point, Ticket to Ride. What else is there? And this gives people an idea, just a splash into a type of design they never would have seen before. So very cool. Although they might have seen it because I've probably also pushed the mind or the game on them. So it is familiar. I don't know. Depends on what your experience is and whether you want to spend time learning something new.